Canadian economy is showing signs of fragility, and now the Canadian Chamber of Commerce has a real-time data tool to measure it. Andrew DiCapua is principal economist at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for being with us, Andrew.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Amanda.
So this tool is, unlike some of the other measures we get, which can be really sort of in the rearview mirror in some ways, is designed to give us a current snapshot. How do you think people will use it?
Yeah, so BDL Now, is a nowcast, and essentially it incorporates a large number of economic indicators. It forecasts what the next data point is for each of those economic indicators, and adjusts its forecast based on whether it got it right or it got it wrong. And so, as economists call it, those upside, downside surprises. It operates just like a forecast, but it's purely model driven. And in times when we're in the business cycle where we could be at these pivotal turning points, tools like this, which we hope are accessible and of course are free to the public, can of course add to the arsenal of tools for businesses and the general public to make better business decisions. One of the interesting things about BDL Now is that it's always on, it's updated as the new incoming data comes in, and we really allow you to peel back how each economic indicator affected the forecast. So we updated our model yesterday, and our model is expecting the economy in the third quarter to grow 1.5%, and it included the latest wholesale trade data as well as manufacturing data and adjusted accordingly.
Yeah, which is so valuable because, of course, you're left with the last impression. It's that we have this contraction in a quarter and people are worried very much that we're heading into recession. This would give businesses a slightly different viewpoint. Would you expect it to start to show up in your business confidence data, and therefore you might even imagine in your business investment data?
Yeah, well, one of the great things is that there are 45 indicators in this tool, covers a large swath of, the Canadian economy, everything from CPI to GDP to consumer spending, and includes the survey data that you mentioned that is really important in getting a sense of business confidence, consumer confidence, includes purchasing manager indices. And so the higher frequency data makes the estimations much more accurate. And as you mentioned, we had a very sharp contraction in the second quarter. BDL Now estimated a contraction of about 1%. We ended up being about 1.5%. Bank of Canada got it a little bit better, but of course, the better information we have, the more benchmarking we can do, businesses can make better decisions.
And as you said, it's free. People should check it out. Andrew, we do appreciate you joining us for this.
Thanks very much, Amanda. Thanks for profiling me.
Andrew DiCapua is principal economist at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Time for the takeaway and the sum of the whole. As Canadians wait for a federal budget in a month or so, we got a timely reminder about how the math works in Canada. This week, BC said its provincial deficit is sitting at a record $11.6 billion, set to rise next year. Meanwhile, Ontario is projected to have a deficit of more than $14 billion. Like the federal government, provinces are spending heavily on new initiatives to help businesses and consumers affected by the trade war. But also, like the feds, most provinces headed into this crisis already in the hole. That's the thing about running deficits. If your spending gets ahead of your income and you aren't willing to increase your income, in this case taxes, there's only one path back to balance, and it's not more spending. Maybe deficits seem like a remote issue, and most Canadians preoccupied with their own affordability problems are content to ignore it. But consider that a taxpayer in a high-debt province has a combined debt, counting both federal and provincial, that most definitely will affect them. Government debt comes at a cost to the government, of course, and in the form of new borrowing. And the more borrowing required, the more the market tends to demand in interest. When government interest rates rise, so do all other forms of interest. So while the central bank can fiddle with the rates at the front end of the curve, it's the debt further up the chain that will determine your mortgage rate. In other words, over-indebted governments hurt citizens today, not just in the future. And while we like to separate our provincial picture from our federal one, there is only one taxpayer, and that would be you. Of course, in times of emergency, spending may be called for. The pending federal budget will be full of items aimed at long-term gain and responding to a massive change in our situation. Fair enough. But a rainy day fund really only works if we aren't spending it on sunny days, too. My takeaway? Maybe this doesn't feel like the right time to hold governments to account over deficit spending, but we should at least be aware of the price we're paying. That's Taking Stock for this week. I'm Amanda Lang. Thanks for being with us.